No, throughout 26 years of their artistic career, the group Los Tucanes de Tijuana has sold over 13 million albums and received exactly 27 BMI awards. So what's interesting here though is that the Supreme Court of Mexico has previously argued that whether they should ban or censor their music or not. So today I'm going to inform you about a long-standing music culture. It's a culture that tells stories depicting a life lived at the edge, so stories related to warfare, money, and drugs. So I brought an album by Los Tucanes de Tijuana, the group that I just told you about. And although all music genres carry messages of their own, los corridos are unique because they relate real life Mexican stories, events, and history. So I identify with the corridos music genre because it is part of my culture and the culture I grew in. So now I will discuss about the history of narco corridos and how I identify with them. So I'm sure that most of you guys know what corridos. No, I'm sure most of you guys know what drug dealers are. So I believe that you guys are familiar with Al Capone or El Chapo Guzman, and because they're famous and also they've been in the news. So you guys should watch the news. Well, all right, my point though is that narcos or drug dealers in Spanish have been illegally dealing drugs for decades. So it was in the 1940s that in different parts of Mexico, groups of criminals made cartels to make easy money. And cartels that at their discretion would either hurt or help their people. And so the corridos genre had already emerged since the Mexican independence, but it gained popularity during the Mexican Revolution and during the rise of cartels that I'm telling you about. So, all right, now, people were thrilled when they heard this revolutionary and energetic music genre because it told stories about the cartels helping the people with infrastructure or defending their region from other cartels and so on. And all the while it sensationalized the lives of the narcos with wealth and with status. So the music of Chalino Sanchez is one amongst the founding artists that are in the mix that led the way for other artists to follow in corridos. And the music of Los Tucanes de Tijuana is a contemporary group that collaborates to the Mexican culture with their music. Now we will discuss how I identify with the corridos culture. So I identify with the corridos genre because it is part of my culture, and which is the culture I grew in. So just like there are other cultures like the American culture, Salvadorian, Guatemalan, there's the Mexican culture with its unique set of traditions, food, and for the purpose of this speech, music. So I listened to corridos since I was a child, and I can remember back in the day my dad would blast the speakers with the corridos, and even to this day he still listens to his music like it was back in the day, and like you could hear the music bumping from block or two. So music like that of Los Tucanes is part of the traditions that make the Mexican culture and that take part in my family. Now we'll review. So narcocorridos go beyond entertaining listeners because they represent a bigger picture. And I just went over the history of narcocorridos and the messages that they carry. And I also discussed how I identify with corridos because they're part of the culture in which I grew in. So the corrido genre, like American country, like rap, like folk music, it's more than just music. It's a culture, and it's the kind of music that is passed on to future generations. So I'm gonna end this by leaving you guys with a quote of one of the songs, corrido. But I'm gonna translate it though. So some of you might not understand. So it says something like, I'm trying to translate. All right. The quote goes like this: I had to decide whether to study or die. So, but now, although I don't know how to read or write, I have a home empire.